So in this journey we're talking about here, that is part of it, of course. So we're talking about where you're actually starting to see and recognize, there's certain things going on that I haven't accessed before that are really deep and important. So, step one is like just even comprehending that there is something there. I mean, in a way, step two is also like accepting I've got fear about going there. Of course you have, because that's why it's been so alien to you. That's why you haven't accessed it before, because it has been so effectively neutered, you know. So it's all very logical, of course. So accept that you have hesitation and fear about it, and also that you don't have to do anything that you're not ready for. You go at your own pace, but you follow your chi, you follow the yearning, and if the yearning is presenting you with something to look at, and you feel you have enough presence to do that bit of it, then you will do it, and you'll get the support, or somehow you'll be able to do it, and if you're not ready, you won't, and that's also fine. So it's a way of sort of taking the pressure off. It's like things will happen when they're ready to happen, and if you feel it's kind of coming, or you're ready, or there's something for you to get, you'll recognize that feeling, and and follow it. I mean, it really does come down to this. It's like you can live a life without that healed, and you can deal with it. And as you've shown, dealing with it involves turning down the fulfilling engagement with life. So that's one option. Obviously, here there's another possibility. And without the yearning, you wouldn't go near it. But with the yearning, you follow your feeling, and you head in a different direction, which has as its possibility a life that is healed of that wound. And that's no small thing. I mean, I know. And again, I don't say that lightly, but that's what this is about. Can you live this life without the devastation that wound left, and therefore be released into, your true nature, what's possible?
Would you say that the way to heal this effect from the wound is like to feel again, to feel the feeling and just stay with it, which of course implies a certain type of strength. I don't want to call it courage, but we're not used to staying with it. Therefore, it may feel uncomfortable or fearful. But would you say that's what one has to do to feel this again?
Yeah, and exactly, and it all comes down to that.
Okay.
It all comes down to that, the ability to go beyond those instincts from this machinery that's kept you from going there, this personality, and to, even like 10 seconds of you staying with it does so much. And so the task is almost to go beyond all that resistance that says, don't ever go there. And you're not even conscious of that's what's operating. But then you become conscious of it. And then if there's enough energy this side of the line, you, despite that, just open incrementally, maybe that little bit more. And every time you can bear it and stay in that, you are returning to your natural state. It's that little bit of healing that's kind of releasing the grip.
It seems like we avoid those uncomfortable feelings because in my mind, I've got it that if I do feel it, it'll last forever, never go away. And so complete avoidance of it because of that.
Actually, Cindy, I would say it's like the opposite. So
what do you mean?
yeah, what do I mean? So the threat that comes with, you know, the pain that you're trying to avoid and the threat of it coming. So by avoiding it, in one sense, you avoid it because you avoid a full-on confrontation with it, which means feeling the root of it, the root of the feeling. So that avoidance of that means that that bit, that will never go away. That won't go away. But
The root of what happened, you mean, will never go away?
The root of the whole thing, the feeling, the deep feeling that's at the root of it. So what I'm saying is you can avoid it, but you are left with outcomes from that. And obviously, like I just said, the fulfilling engagement with life is turned down. So your participation in life and your original relationship to life in general is turned down. That's step one. But step two, also, you have the shadow, the threat of this thing. And you know, if it's not fully locked away, if you're aware it's there, sort of, and once you know enough to know that there's something there, that without it being confronted, that thing, that threat feeling won't go away. But if you can face it in the way that I just talked about, even incrementally in small bits, that's the only way it will go away and can go away. But I hear what you're saying. It's an honest confession. That's the feeling. I can't go there. If I open that box, that's it for the rest of my life, and I will be stuck in that terrible feeling. That's the threat, right? And you have to find out if that's true. I mean, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? Because it's like, well, to find out if it's true, I'm opening to myself to that happening. If it is true, I will be stuck with it for the rest of my life in that horrible feeling. But all I can say is, in my experience, that it doesn't work like that. If you can touch it, that reality of that wound and that pain is undermined. The presentation you get out there sometimes of what is spiritual is so far removed from this bittersweet, painful, beautiful reality of seeing life as it is. You know, it's you can't avoid this. No, you can. That's wrong. In this, you can't avoid what we're talking about here. You can avoid it outside of what we're talking about, life beyond personality. You can, and people will. But in this, whatever your version of that is, as I always say, it's like it's your way in, it's your way back home. So it almost becomes, and you have to get to this point really to for it to happen. It almost becomes like the resistance to it breaks down because something in you knows this is necessary, this is powerful, you know, even beautiful in its own painful way, because it's painful, but it's delivering you back home. So when that starts happening, you find the courage to just, you know, to have those moments where you can touch it.
Just being aware. There is this awareness that one can exercise or live, or that it has its own healing powers. Is that you're not doing anything. It's just you're just being aware of how this feeling moves in you and how and how it makes you feel. It sounds redundant, but that's how you feel feelings, just by feeling. And this awareness is what I want to bring the attention to, because it's such an extraordinary thing. I just, it really, it happens naturally, I would have to say, because there isn't anything that one does to have it or to develop it or anything. It's just the staying with the feeling and the observation, or the being in close attention. You're This is what I understood from Rika's writing,